this was happening back in the 2000s, but yet it feels so current and present, because if you're a parent, you think, if that was my little girl, what would I feel and do? You'd lose your damn mind. And these people, hundreds and potentially thousands of victims of Epstein and Maxwell, are out there in the wind, and they're all thinking, what the fuck is my government doing covering all this up to protect Donald Trump?
Well, it is a story about money, wealth, power, means, influence, right?
Yep.
One. But two, Epstein and Maxwell didn't do this in a vacuum. They had
Correct.
assistants to be able to do this. They paid for the assistants.
They had
paid to
drivers
cover
and
up.
assistants and lawyers and doctors and every other goddamn
But there were
thing.
other people that were complicit in the trafficking and in the partaking of the sexual abuse. Number one. Number two, the thing that bothers me is the victims and survivors of Epstein, Maxwell, and others, and I always emphasize, Rick, the and others, because that was the whole point of this.
Yeah.
Jamie Raskin just last week sent a letter to Pamela Joe at the DOJ stating why, after Donald Trump was sworn in January of 2025, did the Southern District of New York stop its investigation into any potential co-conspirators of Epstein and Maxwell, and the file was transferred from New York to Washington, D.C. Main Justice, after which in July we had that bullshit declaration in a memo, quote, there's nothing credible here about third parties to continue to look at and prosecute. Obviously, the cover-up, right? We're not dumb. We know exactly what is happening here.
This is the largest cover-up in modern government history, folks, and I mean above and beyond Watergate. Because it covers so many more victims, so much more harm, and such a more. And look, I'm not saying that breaking into the Democratic Party headquarters is a good idea or whatever, but I am saying that was stuff that was, you could look at it and squint and say, it's politics bullshit. This is rape of underage girls.
Child rape.
Trafficking. This is child rape. This is child rape. This is trafficking of children and adult women. This is ongoing sexual abuse at the hands of Ghislaine Maxwell and Jeffrey Epstein and a whole bunch of rich guys that they were friends with. And it's unexcusable.
I want to make sure something's very clear here. The victims and survivors of Epstein, Maxwell, and others have been failed grossly by the system. Not only have it's been documented that the Victims Crime Rights Act has been violated, or the Crime Victims Rights Act, has been violated for them, and it was designed to protect them. But the abuse is ongoing. And the reason why I say that, Rick, is although maybe the physical abuse has stopped, how is this not emotionally abusive? To have Alex Acosta sit there and say, well, the credibility was suspect, so we didn't move forward, even though we had a multi-count indictment prepared to be able to move forward federally. You know what? I'm a Republican in Congress, but I don't need to really meet or listen to the victims and survivors of Epstein because this is just a Democratic hoax. The abuse is ongoing. It is the biggest insult and slap in the face of these poor victims. So at the very least, the Americans should be able to judge for themselves whether they want to be complicit themselves in continuing to allow somebody who has, this bears fruit. Donald Trump has committed impeachable offenses for which he has zero fitness for office. And Americans should say to their electeds, you need to get him the fuck out of office. Now, you and I need to have a whole other conversation about J.D. Vance becoming president. That's a whole other thing. But in the meantime, I'm just saying that what this guy has done is impeachable.
And I think the other area where it's impeachable is in the actions of Bondi, Patel, Bongino, and Blanche. They have been engaged in a criminal activity. They are in a criminal cover-up right now. They are suborning her perjury to protect Donald Trump. They are engaged in something that is truly monstrous. And I think, I don't want to waste a lot of time on Donald Trump if he's not going to be actually convicted, but I want to drag Pamela Bondi and I want to drag Todd Blanche and Dan Bongino and Kash Patel over hot coals and broken glass for 1,000 years because they know what they're doing to these young women. They know what they're doing to them.
Yeah, and you and I have talked about how critical it is for accountability to actually have a face and to actually have a moment, which is why getting us back into the levers of power positions to be able to have accountability hearings for All of it. For the Ed
Yep.
Martins, the Pamela Joes, the Kash Patel, the Todd Blanches, the Emil Bovies.
Yes.
The Greg Bovinos, you name it.
Janine Pirros, all of them.
The Janine Pirros, the Lindsay Halligans, the Lena Havas, I could go on and on. Horrifically, as a member of the bar, they are members of the bar, almost all of them, right? They are lawyers that should know better. I have called them the enablers. I have called them the enablers for years, since Trump term 1.0. And really, the funny thing is, and I spoke about this morning, they're so dumb that they haven't figured out that with somebody like Trump, transactional loyalty is the name of the game. Yeah. And when Trump figures out that his ass is high and dry and left to be hanged, he's not going to be worried about bringing their asses down with him as well, right?
No,
so
he's going to say, I had no idea Pam Bondi was doing this. I had no idea.
Right? What are you talking about?
It's almost as if everything Trump touches dies.
Oh, you think so?